towards the end of towards like the last 3/4 of the game, I think Edwards was making some pretty good passes. But one thing me and you were talking about during that first quarter is like, bro, Edwards was not moving the ball. Lakers were clearly loading up on him. He wasn't really making those quick decisions to get off the ball. And I think, they play similar to the Lakers and Wolves, but the Lakers, LeBron and Luka are still at a different level than Anthony Edwards in terms of their creation. So I think Ant just needs to be a little bit more willing to, get off the ball, hit his other teammates who are also, really talented players. Like Jaden McDaniels had a really big game, and he was doing it pretty much exclusively off of like closeouts and attacking closeouts or hitting catch shoot threes, hitting the offensive glass. Like they got talented guys who can also score, especially off an advantage. So kind of utilizing that. But we also have been clamoring for them to do that for like 4 or 5 years at this point, and nothing's really changed. So nothing I've seen inspires me that they're going to move the ball a little bit more. But Ant still had 9 assists. So
yes. Yeah, and I was going to say, like, it did feel like, and you watched the second half more closely, but it did feel like in that second quarter especially, he was getting off the ball a little more. And, that I guess maybe out of necessity too, because as you said, he was on his drives, especially, like he was drawing in the defense whenever. And so he was creating those advantages all the time, but it did feel like he was getting off it a little more. And like, I think that's the biggest focus for the Lakers, speaking of their defense, against Wolves offense. Like, how do you contain the Wolves drives in a way that makes sense? Because that was really the focal point of their attack. Like overall, the Wolves scored 136 points per 100 possessions, which is really significant. 100th percentile mark per clean the glass. And on drives, they had 41 drives and scored 1.17 points per possession, which is also a really high mark. And to go into specifics, like where the Wolves found success on their drives, it was on their spray out threes. They sprayed out for threes like roughly 30% of the time, and they scored and they shot over 60% on these spray out threes off of these drives. And so like there were a lot of sequences where the Wolves, as you mentioned, would get a switch or be able to tag Doncic in a coverage, and then they'd get downhill. And again, the Lakers, they don't have real rim protection. They're kind of like a pack line defense where they require multiple bodies to be in the paint and rotate. And so the Wolves would get inside, collapse the defense, sprayed out to get open looks. And sometimes, as we talked about, Matt, like the Wolves didn't even get into the paint. Like the Lakers were helping one pass away on drives without a rotation. And so, for example, Anthony Edwards would drive, maybe get to the elbow area, and you'd have Rui Hachimura peeling off the shooter, and it was just an easy kick-out pass, again, one pass away to a wide-open shooter. And the Wolves ended up shooting 51% from 3 on the night. And so you could point to, hot shooting, Wolves are feeling it. But as we just talked about, like the Wolves are getting some really clean looks. And so I think the Lakers are definitely going to have to be a little more attentive on these rotations, maybe be a little more mindful of who they're helping off of and how and when to rotate, because there are a lot of sequences where, again, the Wolves are getting clean looks on spray out threes without a rotation in sight.
Yeah. Why not, Yash? Let's look at Wolves assists from last night. Let's
Sure.
try. Do you want to look at Ant specific or just assists overall? What do you think?
We can look at assists overall.
Assists overall. Okay. Let me pull that up.
Yeah, because as we talked about, it wasn't just Ant. Like you mentioned, Jaden McDaniels had a great game, and it wasn't just him knocking down threes either. He was creating off the dribble. So I'm sure there were plays across the board for the Wolves creating those looks.
All right, so this is we did random.
Yeah. Okay. So go on, walk through that. Let's
see. Conley Randall, 2 on the ball. Oh yeah, that was a good play. Let's see.
Short roll.
Yeah.
With Randall.
And what are you gonna ask Rui Hachimura to do? I mean, this is just a naked 4-on-3 with
Yeah, it's tough. But I would say in that sequence it's difficult. Again, we talked about the Lakers. They may not have the best personnel defensively. Like you're asking, that's Austin Reeves' rotation there technically to at least sit on Rudy Gobert's legs and prevent him from getting that position to be a target for the lob. But that crackdown has to be there again. So after Randall gets this pass, if you could fast forward just a little bit, yeah, right here. Reeves should be pinching in on the lob, cracking down as we call it. and Finney-Smith should be splitting 2 on
Yeah.
on the weak side between Edwards and McDaniel. So again, like the Wolves did a great job of executing with pace, which makes it hard to be on top of these rotations. But I also think the Lakers could be more on top of it. Speaking of defensively and rotating.
Yeah. One thing Lucas said after the game was he felt like the team kind of let go of the rope once the Wolves kind of went their onslaught. Ironic that he says it because I think he's also part of the problem. Obviously there's a reason why he's getting targeted, in these actions so high because he doesn't really provide any resistance on the ball. Maybe for this one, like you just straight up switch that. But at this point in the game, obviously they're down 19 points. Probably floundering on defense a little bit. You don't want to. I don't know. I think you just switch that initial action and just hope you don't want them to get to this. But obviously Luka was not in position. I don't think there was any great communication in terms of what the coverage was there. Yeah, we can look at another play now. Good defense.
Gobert again.
They're getting in transition, playing with pace. Oh, yeah. That's just playing with pace there.
Yes, and I've got a number for that. Sorry to interrupt. Oh, yeah. But yeah, like the Timberwolves, 18% of their offense came in transition, which is 79th percentile, and they scored what is it? Oh wow, they scored like 1.7 points per possession in transition. So again, as we see right here, again another example. DiVincenzo driving, kick, and early offense, wide open 3. So pace was definitely successful for them.
Must feel so good to hit a 3 like that in front of the opposing team's bench.
Wish I could have that feeling. I know you've had that feeling. You've played.
You won't catch me in the corner. No, I'm just kidding. Let's see. This is like a one pass away sort of scenario. Mm-hmm. I like this cut from here or this relocation, whatever, from Naz Reid. You're vacating the space, getting Gabe Vincent out of the gap. Luke Ant's able to dig a little deeper, and then Luke is just very late on this closeout.
Right, but this is what we talked about, right? Like with one pass away over helping in a sense. Like why? Like Luka, the second the ball is driven at him, he should be fanning out to the shooter. It's okay to maintain that spot in the gap, but I think you just have to be more timely with that rotation. And these are all clean looks, inside out 3s.
Yeah, I mean that's just like a kind of just a laziness thing. They just kind of need everyone to buy in defensively. You can't have like Luka and LeBron both kind of taking plays off a little bit. That's a deep 3 right there.
Yeah, I mean, NBA shooters, especially Anthony Edwards, league leader in 3-pointers. Once you get in a rhythm, it's hard to stop him from anywhere.
Yeah, I forgot who was on the broadcast for this game. Whoever it was had a cool story about when he was at USA Basketball this summer. Him and Curry would be in like shooting contests, and he felt like he kept up. So, why not shoot more 3s? And that was kind of basically the inspiration for that. So,
it's pretty cool.
From your GOAT.
Yeah, that should be everybody's GOAT, in my opinion.
Hey, this is a good pass from Ant.
All right, let's see.
This is growth right here. I mean, Julius Randle started to dive. Maybe probably looking for the offensive rebound would be my guess, but sets his feet. He low-key likes setting, or he likes coming off his feet, moving a little bit. Like he likes that step back. It actually helps with his rhythm, so kind of worked out. But great pass from Ant. I mean, LeBron made the right rotation here. You dig down, but if you had let's say, whatever, you're on some random team, instead of having DFS, you have Rudy Gobert, like an actual center. They can probably cat and mouse this a little better. LeBron doesn't have to dig as deep, and then force him to make that long rotation. So that's a weakness of playing small, is like you don't have the length to take away those gaps as much.
That's a great point. And as you mentioned, like size makes a difference, but a lot of teams that play small, they do have range and athleticism, kind of like Minnesota, to compensate. And so like maybe another team, they could scramble out of that. Maybe Luka could have peeled out to the corner where that LeBron vacated, but the Lakers, they just don't have that kind of activity. But again, maybe they could buy in and we could see a different outcome.
Yeah. Here's another example of one pass away. Luka's just digging, not really doing anything, and then late closeout, Jaden's hitting. You can't do that. You got to be a little bit more engaged.
Right. Yeah, or like there's a solution. Like if Luka's helping, they could peel switch that.
Yeah.
That's something Luka had a lot of experience with Dallas. Like
Yeah.
if Luka could just help from the corner and you could have the defender on the ball just rotate out to the corner. Maybe that's something they look into doing.
Yeah, just another late closeout from Luka. I mean, you're just in no man's land, and then Nas relocates. Good relocation, good pass by Ant. Credit to them for making that pass, but
Right.
You just see a little bit of a pattern here in terms of it. A lot of this is coming against Luka. This is kind of whatever. So let's see. Yep, good switch.
A lot involving him in the action too. Yeah, and then they vacate the space for Ant to go to work. Ooh, yeah, it's overhelp with no rotation. There's no rotation. There's got to be a rotation somewhere.
So that's a LeBron rotation, right?
Yeah, I mean it's tough because Luka he's not able to funnel into anybody. There's probably be communication telling him to funnel him into a side. Kind of like you said, they left him on an island, which is difficult. And then the Lakers they just don't know where the help should come, where it's going. So I think just better communication to get help too.
Way to be to close out there, take the space, no rim protection. Tough.
But that's what you'd want to do. But yeah, again, as you mentioned, no rim protection. Like that's the right basketball play there from Finney Smith.
Yeah. Anything else? I don't know. Would it be interesting for you to look at Luka's buckets and see if is it really just unstoppable, or is there something the Wolves can do? Is there something else that's a little bit more?
Sure. Yeah, we can take a look. I'm curious because my initial thought, and correct me if you think otherwise, it sort of just felt like no matter who the Wolves put on him, and it was a similar story last year, Luka could get by them, or Luka could get to his spot wherever that is on the floor. So it really did feel like Luka had the advantage in any situation. Again, as you mentioned though, he only had one assist.
Yeah, only had one assist. So maybe you can see how they're playing him, if they're playing him straight up or whatever.
Yeah, that'd be interesting to see. Yeah. Okay, but that's my initial thought.
All right, this is randomly ordered too, by the way.
Sure, that's the way to do it. Oh, that was quick.
Okay.
I love these broadcasts, but man, if you're trying to analyze the game, it's tough with all these replays.
Oh,
yeah, see, that's okay. Luka, man.
That's nasty.
Yeah, again, he's just a window of daylight, and a lot of guys the right place to drive, but Luka is able to get that shot off on a step back. So Lakers playing with pace here.
He had 12 points in the first quarter, so a lot of it came in the first. See, on this one, I remember in the moment I was watching this. You're in semi-transition. I don't really get how you end up with Gobert on an island. I mean, okay, so Jaden picks with the ball. Jaden thought he was getting here.
Yeah.
It's a small lineup. But if you're, kind of in this is not like a fast break. You shouldn't really have Gobert on.
I mean, I don't know, because if you were to rewind the play to the beginning, even before this, so off this made basket here, the Lakers fling the ball up the floor. They get the ball across half court in 2 seconds, and so I think there is a sense of urgency to pick up the ball, whoever's closest, and that does the mismatch. Well, yeah, maybe the Wolves could have been a little more sense of urgency there.
That's still a tough shot.
Yeah, Rudy, and all these guys. The Wolves defenders did a good job.
Yeah. Luka just gets wide-eyed when Gobert's on him. It's his favorite matchup in the world.
Right.
Okay. We're seeing it. It's a lot of one-on-one, right? You don't see a ton of, DiVincenzo's not biting all. DiVincenzo stunts. He's not doing nothing, but basically that's nothing to Luka.
Yeah, and again, as you sort of do to put the two sides, compare them, with the Lakers, if you were to freeze it on the Luka drive when he gets to the paint, right here. So pause right there. Yeah, so if this was the Lakers, we would have seen them. If there was a Laker defender in Gobert's spot, we would have seen them step all the way up and have a full rotation to take the player in the dunker spot. But since it's Gobert, 7-footer, the Wolves don't need to exhaust that much backline. They don't need to really over-rotate. And so, as you mentioned, a two-man game, they don't need to bring multiple defenders. They're able to defend that with two. And so they're not really getting into rotation here, which is the biggest problem with the Lakers.
Yeah, and that's why too. Like when people say, "Oh, I don't see why Gobert is good," like stuff like this. Like it's so when you're watching live, there's no way you could tell the value of this. But we saw the difference earlier with that DFS clip, where it's DFS being the spot Gobert is and trying to like play both. Versus Gobert, he can do it just because he's the length, and also he's not going to overcommit to Luka on a drive. He recognizes that Jaden. I mean, this is Luka's very, very makeable shot, but still like solid defense from McDaniels, just contesting it and forcing a non-rim paint too. But yeah, that's why Gobert is valuable. Is just stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, people aren't crazy, man. There's a reason he's won his defensive player of the years.
Yeah. Gets the smaller matchup here. Bullies just gets to a spot
1-on-1 without rotation.
Yeah, there's no rotation. They're playing it 1-on-1, and yeah, Luka puts up 37, but they still win by 20 something points.
That might have been what the Wolves were aiming for.
Yeah. Early in the game, I know we're not talking about offense again for Wolves offense, but yeah, that's the type of stuff he was pulling. 15 on the clock, you're taking a step back over two people. It's not. Let's work for something better. Okay.
Lakers out on the open floor.
They just slow it. Lakers are very much a slow it down team. All right, we got Conley on Luka here. Wow, just doesn't even care. Oh, wow. I thought he was going to make that.
Luka, you never rule anything out of the book.
Yeah.
Double drag.
Bye.
But you missed this one, I think. Yeah. Yeah, these are all, 1-on-1, like.
He's getting good shots every time.
Right? Like, you can't really feel comfortable, but it did work.
I will say the shots they're giving, yes, it's makeable, like Luka shots, but, like, if he's going to beat you on that type of stuff, I think you just kind of have to be fine with it. That is the one thing Luka, like, I would say is not his strong suit, is just, like, these step back jumpers. Like, I don't think it's a reliable enough weapon for him to just, like, kill you. This one, damn, he just moves him.
Yeah, see that's a high percentage shot at the rim.
Yeah, that is a high percentage shot. That is basically a layup.
Yeah, but those mid-range jumpers, hand in the face, I think those are good looks. And the Lakers, just looking at it, they shot 33% as a team on mid-range jumpers. So,
this was the point of the game where the Lakers kind of made it interesting. So the Vanderbilt in the game gets the switch.
It's going at Gobert.
Good. That was good defense. That was fair. There was no foul there. Stays disciplined. Luka tries to do the, him and Jalen Brunson do this stuff. They kind of stop early, use defenders' momentum, try to draw the foul. But yeah, Luka. Rudy plays it well.
But again, like Gobert on an 1-on-1, but the Wolves aren't bringing a rotation. They're trusting their individual defenders.
That shot, I'm okay with.
Yeah.
If he beats you on elbow, jumper, step backs,
all
right, Rui.
Yeah, but again, we do know that Luka is capable of doing that. But as of right now, that's always the thing. Pick your poison. This is currently what the Wolves again. He's capable of making shots like these consistently, but that's just the poison that the Wolves are choosing to pick right now.
All right.
Yeah, I think. Let's see here. They get Rudy on an island. Okay, this time, but look, that's a great peel switch there.
Yeah.
As we talked about, on this drive, McDaniels takes Luka, Rudy slides down. That's what the Wolves are able to do, because even in lineups where they play small or play big, they have the ranginess and the activity. Whereas if that was Luka on that switch, he's shown that he's done it. He could do it before. In the playoff run last year, he was really making rotations, flying all over the place. But he's gonna need that same buy-in, I think, with the Lakers.
Yeah. Okay. I think we get the idea here. They're playing him 1-on-1. You see it in the stats. We confirmed it with our eyes. If you're the Lakers, what is your adjustment from this point? Just part of the problem with the roster construction is you don't have another bullet like that you could fire. For the Wolves, it's okay, we could take Gobert off the floor, or we keep Gobert on the floor. We take Conley off the floor, put Nickeil Alexander-Walker, DiVincenzo in if you need more defense. The Wolves have kind of those weapons in the toolbox. The Lakers, on the other hand, don't. They just kind of have to play the way they are.
That's a great point.
I kind of answered my own question. Not supposed to do that. But what if you are the Lakers? What would you be thinking about doing at least?
Yeah, I think there's definitely some adjustments they can make schematically. Thinking of the defensive side, again, the advantage to playing small is you have activity and ranginess, versatility. The Lakers, like, they do have that still. Like, they may not have super athletic guys, but they do have size. Like, in most lineups that they roll out, everyone on the floor is 6'4", 6'5" plus. And so you can experiment with different switches, different rotations. Getting specific here, the main area that they struggle to defend were drives. And so I think they could mix in some peel switches. Basically, it's going to take a lot of communication and a lot of buy-in. But I think they need what their main point was on drives. They're giving up they're giving up threes without rotation. So at least peel switches, different kinds of switches, rotations, that would ensure that everyone is getting out and no one is uncovered. So I think that's the move. Like on a drive, if Luka is on an island, for example, LeBron is stepping up in the paint. Luka should either peel down to the two who LeBron left, or you have somebody crack down for LeBron and Luka rotates and splits the difference. And again, like a lot of people, I don't think they remember, but a big part of Dallas's run last year, their NBA Finals run was on the defensive side, and Luka was a big part of that, especially against OKC and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander drives where Luka was on an island. Luka would essentially, his job was to run anybody off the line, and then Dallas would rotate, and then Luka would get out and split the difference. And Luka was really successful in those spots, peel switching, getting out, being active with the 6'8" frame. Again, there are ways to, I think, keep him involved despite his athletic deficiencies. And so I think that's going to take a lot of buy-in across the board. LeBron, I think, is going to have to be really active as the low man and in rotations. And Luka is not only is he, I think, going to need to do a better job of being competitive on the perimeter, but I think he's going to need to be active as well as the rest of the Lakers in these rotation situations. And I think in general, the Lakers just need to have a more clear plan on when they're going to rotate, when they're not. Like, it seemed like they were inconsistent with their help, especially in those one pass away situations. So I think coming in with a greater sense of focus and maybe being more switchy and being more creative with your switches, I think that's the way to go.
There you go. That's the diagnosis. I totally agree. The inconsistency part, that's the part I was seeing the most. It's just like you put two on the ball and then LeBron's not on the same page, or sometimes you are, 2-on-1ing the backside and Xing out and rotating. Like there just wasn't, there didn't seem to be a clear plan. So,
right.
Yeah, no, I think that was a cool breakdown. Glad we got some of our film involved. I feel like that's the part that's pretty fun for us. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think moving forward, we're going to track some of these series closely. I mean, there's going to be some today as well. I don't know if these games can be as good as yesterday. But yeah, sounds good. Okay, hopefully we can start doing this a little bit more consistently. Miss doing this. It's definitely a lot of fun. So
sure.
Yeah. All right. Thank you for listening to the Beyond the Arc podcast. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at Beyond the Arc 8. Hopefully we'll post something soon. And make sure to follow Yash, get his follower count up,
I mean, yeah, no. Yeah, you do as you please, man.
At Basketball One. All right. Thank you, everyone, for listening.